Hello, it's January 13th, 2025. I'm Joe Weston still, even in 2000. No, it's 2026. Wow. And even in 2026, I'm still Joe Weston. And and, and we're here for our online monthly Global Heart Gathering. And it's always a joy, as I always say, it's always a joy to see familiar faces, and it's especially a joy to see new faces. And just to clarify what this is, we gather every month with people from around the world to come together, to hold space with each other, to rest, to restore, to support, to vision, to dream, to hope, and to gather with people who share common values. Because sometimes, I've been saying this for years now that the world system is doing a good job of keeping us dysregulated and separated. And the most radical, rebellious, revolutionary thing we can do right now on this planet is to cultivate our self-care, get regulated, get centered, and to commit to the creativity of deepening our relationships and cultivating new relationships. And as I say in Fierce Civility, one of the main themes of what's going to bring us out of this culture, global culture of polarization to lasting peace, one of the important steps in that is that we have the skills and the courage to find new alliances in surprising places. Because in essence, I've been saying this now for 20 years, if not more, if only hanging out with people who already agree with us were going to solve our world problems, we would have already solved our world problems. So that's not working. So therefore, what could the alternative be? The alternative could be that we need to realize that in a complex world that we're living in, where with so much diversity and so many, and a global culture where we're dealing with so many nations and cultures and types of people and beliefs and customs, that if we're going to see lasting change, lasting transformation, if we're going to come up with solutions that are sustainable and resilient, where people will stand behind them and work hard to let them get planted, to take root, to grow, and to harvest the new solutions of our time, we need diverse opinions and viewpoints in order to do that. Just like in nature, is that a healthy environment is a diverse environment, an ecological system to thrive, a system that goes constantly out of balance through chaos, through weather or whatever. And it knows with a level of interdependence and cooperation, how to restore the whole system back into balance and to gain strength and to learn from that, gather new information for the next wave that's going to hit to be able to meet that challenge. It's nature. It's part of who we are. Human beings can do it too. We've shown that we have done it. But in that system, an ecosystem will thrive most if it's a diverse ecosystem where many different types of species or types of visions or whatever come together to support one another. So that's what we're here to do is, we're in a chaotic time. We've been talking about this. We've been gathering. I've been gathering. Some of you have been gathering with me since 2017. So it's great to have you all here. When we were doing it every week until like 2021, 22, Tori's one of them, and Jean and Bob and Christine and Mika and Hank and Ophelia and Barbara and George and all of you who have been here on a regular basis holding space for this. And what are we here to do? We're here to cultivate our own fierce compassion and resilience, resilient power, and that we see ourselves as midwives. Again, just another thing I've been saying for decades is the bad news is that the systems as we know them are crumbling. The good news is that the systems as we know them are crumbling. And that is causing a lot of chaos. And you are seeing it unfolding. We've been seeing it happening for decades now. And we are in the apex of it, I believe, and when I hear that from others. And to just think of it from neuroscience, the more anxiety there is, the more unknown and uncertainty there is, our individual nervous systems get activated. We get into a fight, flight, freeze response. We're seeing it happening on a societal level where groups are either in a fight mode, which is not really solving the problem, or in a flight mode where they're in denial about what's happening, which is not solving the problem, or they're in a freeze mode where people who wish they had something they can do but just can't figure out what. And so how do we help people? How do we stay regulated and connected to ourselves and our higher purpose and our higher visions and our values to be midwives, to support people in the systems that are dying, midwives for the dying, and midwives for what's being birthed. And we've been practicing that now for years, literally, on a regular basis. And for those of you who are here for the first time, I will be leading you through a practice. Practice we do every time we meet, to cultivate that. And I usually start with sharing some ideas about what I think is unfolding to give us a perspective, and we take that into the practice. And I want to share a little bit about that, and I'll start with a little bit of what I want to share. We'll do the practice, and there'll be time afterwards for you to reflect, or if you have any comments you want to say or questions, please unmute, and feel free to jump in. Because again, this is a way we support each other and we take care of each other, to know we're not alone. So I want to just talk a little bit about last time. I really was very clear and a little fierce in what I was sharing in terms of what I'm hearing a lot now. We're talking about 2025 was a tough year. 2026 is going to be new openings. And a lot of people were saying that there's a new era coming, a new evolution. And we have been seeing that it's there. Unfortunately, the media doesn't find that profitable or sexy, so we don't really hear about it very much. They profit off of the war and the conflict. So we have to work a little harder to find it. And luckily, I'm engaged with a lot of different groups and individuals around the world who are doing remarkable work to bring about a more evolved way we are on the planet, where there is more respect for human beings, for creatures, for the planet itself, for the rivers, for the mountains, for the trees, and that an enormous amount of resources are even going into that. The challenge is that many of these organizations and individuals are isolated on their own. So what can we do to unite and ally with each other, finding alliances in surprising places? How do we create the networking? How do we, like, it's just like if you look at it as a telephone system. I'm thinking now of the ones like where you stick the things in. I'm sorry for those of you who are under 40, you may not understand what I'm doing when I'm doing this. But for those of you who do, oh, can I connect you to? Anyway, sorry, I'm getting a little distracted there. That's really what's needed to in a sense, light up the global system of compassion and love and generosity to overcome all the networks that have been created to create fear and greed and self-interest. So last time I talked about this idea of many of us have been talking for decades, oh, this new era is coming, this era of all oneness. We are all one. You hear a lot of communities, people say that. And I'll try to be as polite as I can with as minimum judgment as I can say in saying it. Some of you who know me better in smaller circles might see a different Joe. But I find it quite funny that, certainly in the 80s, everyone was dancing around like, oh, we're going to enter this age where everything's going to collapse and everything's going to be hard and ecstatic about it. And now we're in it. And they're like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be this. But it is this. And are we ready for it? And I say we are ready for it, for those of us who are doing our practices and understanding that on some level, this evolution is an inside job. And I talked last month very specifically about for those of us who still have this illusion that this new earth or this new evolved society, it's going to show up like Disneyland, like you just go from one area to another area. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen externally. It's only going to happen because we shift from within. And I'm not saying this like I'm there. I'm still doing my work. But I do get a sense that that's what is going to cause this shift. I keep saying for decades now, I've been saying, and one of the human beings that inspired me with this work that I do with respectful confrontation, fierce civility, is the Peace Pilgrim. If you don't know the Peace Pilgrim, please check her out. An American woman. She was a nun. And in the 50s, she was upset to see what was happening with nuclear armament. So she decided to start walking. And she did. She walked. She only had a pencil and a pad. And if someone gave her a place to sleep, then she'd sleep on a mattress. If not, she'd just keep walking. She did that for 30 years. And she said, oh, I'm walking until there's peace, till there's no more war. So she kept walking. And she wrote the most beautiful treatises on peace. She had a lot of time, so she could do that. But just one statement that she says that really stayed with me which is, we are not going to solve our world wars until we first look at our own personal psychological violence. That it's a fallacy to think that we're going to solve on an external level our world issues if we're still not doing our own work. If we're still on a very basic level, still getting angry because someone cut you off with the car, or you're angry at someone, or you're calling customer service. These are just some things to think about. And this is what I'm referring to. And I spoke last time that in this new evolved era, the reason why it will be evolved is because we've done the work of eliminating greed and suspicion. We've done the work. We've done the work of eliminating our inner polarities. And in Fierce Civility, I talk a lot about that if we're going to move to this new state of lasting peace, we first have to deal with our own inner polarities before we can start looking at overcoming our external polarization. So I've been thinking about this in the terms of, I want to share with you that I took an art class in high school. Stick with me. I'll get to where we're going. That was very impactful to me. It was like a painting class, a drawing class. I took that in high school, so that was just a few years ago. So it's been with me ever since then. And I remember at the beginning of the class, and I remember we had a sketchbook, and I remember I sketched a lot of things. The only thing I remember in the sketchbook is me sketching my hands. I don't know why, but that's what I remember. And in the very beginning, the teacher gave us some theory, and she said, there's the theory of color, and there's the theory of light. And there's a spectrum of color, and there's a spectrum of light. In the theory of color, black is all colors. And when you go through the spectrum, in the theory of color, white is no color. So in the spectrum of colors, from the law or the theory of color, black is all colors, white is no colors. In the theory of light, in that spectrum, white is all colors and black is no colors. That has stayed with me for 4.5 years since I've been in high school. And on not only from the perspective of how I look at things, because I'll look at things and I'll see how much light is there, how much color and darkness, shadow is there. But I want to bring that up to help us understand a deeper level of what I meant in the last session last month about this idea. It's about us removing the obstacles to this concept of oneness. and that it is about removing the obstacles to oneness, right? So I talk about this a lot. People say we're all one. And that is true. We are fully interdependent and interconnected. So the issue isn't that we're not all one. We are all one. The problem is our thoughts, our words, and our actions are not in alignment with the fact that we're all one. So it's not that we have to cultivate more all oneness. We have to do our work to eliminate the obstacles that separate us from that all oneness. So you could let's go with the theory of light and say that light that light is all oneness and light is the white, all light, no color, and that it's up to us to eliminate the colors that kind of obscure that light from shining through. There's one of the most impactful books I've ever read by 𝗁𝗵𝗂𝗃, an Indian mystic and scholar, called the Bodhisattva Way of Life. It breaks up the different perfections, and there's a whole chapter on concentration. Basically, the whole chapter is 𝗁𝗵𝗂𝗃 through these gorgeous verses. You could take one verse and meditate on it for months, just the one verse. I recommend it. It's dense, but I recommend it. And so I was studying this with my teacher, Tibetan Buddhist teacher, and we were studying this whole book for about a year. And we finally get to the concentration chapter where you learn about samadhi. I think you're going to learn about samadhi. You're going to learn about one-pointed concentration, about the depth of concentration in the mind. And the chapter starts and it says how to set up your room and the things to eliminate from your room. And the chapter goes on about what you should wear. And it goes on and on about all the things you should do to prepare for meditating. And then the chapter ends. And I'm like, what happened to the meditation teaching? And it took me a moment to realize, I get it. What he's doing is he's saying, within you and your purest self, you don't have to meditate. You are already in one-pointed stillness. What you need to do is eliminate the obstacles that are keeping you from that. So I'm just offering different ways. I'm hoping it hits you in your body in a way and in your system to really understand that our job is to look at, and we have been doing that with our practice that we do when we look at loved ones, strangers, and adversaries, and we feel how we use those labels to create separation. The work of the practice is to soften the rigidity of those labels and to look at how our own inner polarities are keeping us from having that flow. And I talked about, I'll say one more thing and then we'll get into our practice, but I talked about last time, that one of the important exercises I do in all of my workshops, whether that's in a more esoteric personal development workshop or at NASA or wherever, I do an exercise called face-to-face. Some of you know it. Some of you are trained in my work to know how to offer that. Some of you have done it with me in a room. And I didn't invent it. Many people do it. But the way I bring it, I focus it as two people stand across from each other. They feel their feet on the ground. They connect with their core, with their personal power. They connect with their heart, where their heart power resides. And I invite them that from their personal power, they connect with the personal power with respect and honor with the center of the other, and with honor and respect from their heart to the heart of the other. That's how I connect with everyone I encounter, even when I'm at the supermarket. Everyone is my way of feeling my feet on the ground and from my center and heart connecting with theirs with honor and respect. And I know it has an impact. I see it. And how open my heart is and how much judgment and labeling I have about that person determines how much of an impact that will be. It's on my side. If I have judgments about them based on whatever it might be, then of course my heart isn't as open to them. But it's my work to cultivate understanding the open-heartedness to have the impact I want to have. So anyway, these people are standing face to face. It's very uncomfortable. They make eye contact and they breathe and there's stillness and they stay that way. They're very uncomfortable. And the resistant comes up, they look away and they have to come back, and they come back. They start thinking about, what are they going to think about me? They start thinking, oh, who is this person, whatever, but they keep coming back. And then I say to them, notice the assumptions you've made about this person. And realize that these assumptions have nothing to do with this person. They're your stories about them, and are on some level keeping you from a deeper connection, an authentic connection with them in this moment. Even people you know for decades. If you're going to see them from a label that you had of them 20 years ago, you're not seeing them authentically for who they are now. And then I say, breathe through it and try to release those assumptions. And as they release the reptilian brain fight, flight, freeze of I've got to get out of this, as they release the mammalian brain thing of what are people going to think of me, all of the things that go into that, and release this idea of the labels and assumptions, they come to an authentic connection with themselves and with each other. Their hearts open, and from their humanity, they can engage with the humanity of another. And their hearts are one. Happens all the time, even in these corporate settings. And tears come or not, but there's a recognition, there's a connection, and then I invite them out of that, and we reflect, and I hear what they have to say, and then I say to them, recall that moment when it was no longer a you or a me, but an us. And know that in that moment, war cannot happen. Hunger is not possible. Harming one another is not possible in that moment. And it is that we're cultivating. We pop out of it in an instant, and that's where the harm comes. So that sense of I brought up a few images of in the theory of light, color is in the theory of light, all color. What was it again? In the theory of light, white is all colors. Yeah. Meaning you've eliminated all the colors, all of the things that call shade, so that you can actually just be in that light with one another. I brought it up from 𝗺𝗁 𝗣𝗿𝗰, which basically says your practice for concentration is simply eliminating the obstacles that keep you from having one point in concentration. And this is about shedding all of the things that keep you from connecting in that level. And that, I believe, is the key. When all of us, enough of us, not all of us, enough of us can cultivate where we can come from our humanity in that pure place and connect with the humanity of another, that's when we're going to evolve into what we've been saying we're going to evolve into. That's when we don't even need words anymore to communicate. Where we just know that if someone is feeling a little distressed, we'll feel it and we will instantly take action to take care of them before it gets out of control. We will work together to make sure that rivers are clean, right? We'll just do it. So again, I wanted to just bring this in and to just give you a deeper level of that experience. I'm still working on it, and of course, as we all are. But I want to put it in the context of our practice. Is there anyone who has something burning they want to say before we get into the practice? Based on that, if you do, just unmute. And,
For me,
yeah.
it's recognizing the truth. And the truth is that we are all one and we are all connected.
Yeah. Yeah, but I have moments where I doubt it, right? Because when you look about what's going on, it's hard to hold on to that. And sometimes it's hard for people to say, I don't want to be with all one with that person, or in that situation.
But the truth
Eh,
is that we are.
yeah. Yes. So yeah, thank you. Okay, let's take it into our practice and see where we go with that and see what comes up. So in this practice, as always, there's no right way to do it or wrong way to do it. It's about finding your way. It seems like a meditation, but it's not exactly like a meditation. It's about actually cultivating more presence. And as I say, resilience. And we're using this practice to like we were doing circuit training for athletes to train our hearts to be able to hold more beings in our hearts with love without it burning us out, right? So that's what we're doing. It's resilience training. So I work with a concept of your center, which is in your lower belly. Many of you may know this from yoga or Tai Chi or whatever, or movement. It's about the width of 3 fingers below your navel and a third of the way into the body. So if you put your fingers together, I'll show you, put your fingers together, put your index finger by your navel, where your pinky resides, that's about the width of 3 fingers below your navel. And then you want to go a third of the way into the body. I'll explain it again as we go in, but I just wanted to share that. So with our practice, we start with power sit. That's finding a way to sit where your spine can be straight without being rigid. Feel what that's like. So you might want to sit at the edge of the chair or cushion you're sitting on so you're not pushing, you're not leaning back. You want to also elongate from the back of your neck, so you're tucking your chin a little bit. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your belly. If you're sitting in a chair, feel your feet flat on the ground. Let your hands just rest and relax, no clenching. Listen to just the natural breath. Listen to how the body wants to breathe in this. And this, so what we're cultivating is our definition of resilience, which is presence, awareness, balance, and flow. From power sit, feel your contact points, the parts of your body that are connecting with the ground and the chair. And from those points of your body, feel the sensation of those parts of your body pressing down against the chair and the ground. Feel the stability under you. Let the body register that what you're sitting, how you are sitting and what you're sitting on is stable. As your body and your nervous system and your brain begins to understand that it is stable, that you are sitting on something that's stable, it'll activate the proper hormones to allow you to let go and be held. Let yourself be held. In this practice, if energy wants to start moving through you, let it flow. If emotions want to flow through you, let them flow. No judgment. All are welcome. Now bring your awareness to your center, with the 3 fingers below your navel, a third of the way into the body. So you can place your full attention there. This is your center of gravity, creativity, impulse, gut wisdom, personal power. And most importantly for this practice, it's your center of awareness, how you perceive your reality. Your brain thinks your reality, your heart and your emotional self feels your reality, and your center in this point perceives your reality. From your center, really getting a deeper sense of your contact points. And we're using this practice to get a stronger relationship with the present moment, starting with yourself. So from your center, become aware of your physical body. Simply listen. You don't need to do anything. Let the body learn the language, the vocabulary of your body. Let it speak to you. Sensation, breath, heart rate, tension, relaxation. It's all information. From your center, become aware of your emotional body. Try to identify what emotions are you present to right now, which ones are more on the surface. There may be hundreds of emotions flowing through you. Which ones are the most active? And without judgment, simply allow them to be and flow. From your center, become aware of your mental body, your thoughts. Really being aware from your center of the part of you that can be aware of your thoughts. The part of you that's not your thoughts. And not necessarily what you're thinking, but the quality of your thoughts in this moment, doing an inventory. And from your center, maintaining a connection with your core as you bring your awareness also now to your heart center, the middle of your chest, where your heart power resides. Compassion, connection. Your highest values. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of the part of you that has connection with something larger than yourself. What is that part of you that has connection to something larger than yourself? And from that part of you, from your heart and from your core, notice or become aware of what is your connection in this moment to something larger than yourself. And allow that to flow in whichever direction it comes to you. Sense of your connection with yourself and that which is larger than you in this moment. The earth beneath you flowing up into you, that which is larger than yourself flowing in, filling your core and your heart. Allow that to radiate out from your heart and your core to fill your personal space, out to the boundaries of your own personal space, in all directions, behind you, above you. And with this awareness of yourself in this present moment, take a full, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Maintaining your connection with yourself, building on your awareness of this present moment from your center and from your heart, become aware of your surroundings without having to look with your eyes. How much of your surroundings can you perceive? In all directions, placing yourself in the middle of your surroundings. Sounds, smells, temperature, light. How are your surroundings impacting you in this moment? And with this awareness of yourself and your surroundings from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. Building on this connection of yourself and your surroundings, keeping your eyes closed, from your center and from your heart, become aware of those in this meditation practice, this meditation circle. Is it possible from your center, your personal power and your heart to connect with the personal power and the heart of others? And we're talking about people who are now engaged with this practice in various parts of North America, various parts of Europe, and perhaps others who are not on the World Wide Web with us in other parts of the world. Connecting with them from your heart and your personal power. And with awareness of yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And building the capacity to hold more beings in our hearts, now maintaining that connection with yourself, your surroundings, those in this meditation circle, your allies, you could say. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of all human beings, beginning with those human beings you would label loved ones. And who arises in your heart? Surprise yourself. What loved ones pop up in your heart right now? What faces do you see or groups of people? And consider, as you stand face to face with them, how open is your heart to them? How much are you in all oneness with them? How much are you seeing these loved ones from a belief system that you had of them 10 years ago? How much of them are you overinflating their wonderfulness because they're a loved one? Just notice and see if you can breathe through those and see them more authentically for who they are now. Or from one of the polarities that I bring up in the Fierce Civility book, how many, even with loved ones, are you stuck in a cycle of, I am right, and if you have a different view, you must be wrong? And realizing that as long as we hold on to that polarity, inner polarity, we're not going to get to a deeper level of all oneness and new solutions. Notice how open your heart is now with your loved ones. And from your center and from your heart, I'm going to shift it a little bit, connecting with those human beings you would label adversary. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? What groups of people? And be honest with yourself. Be courageous in people you consider adversaries. And standing face to face with them, how open is your heart to them? There's no right or wrong. It's simply noticing. And could you get to a place of all oneness with them? One thing you might consider is another polarity I bring up in Fierce Civility is this idea of I am all good and someone who's an adversary is all bad. And to first consider, am I really all good? Do I have thoughts, words, and actions that might actually be similar to my adversary? And is my adversary all bad? Could it be possible that this adversary I have in mind actually is very kind to dogs, for instance? Treats their children well? Is a wonderful singer? I don't know what it is, but just to consider, am I all good? And are they all bad? And consider if they're not all bad and you're not all good, maybe that can shift your level of open-heartedness with them. even 1% more open. Allow the energy to flow and emotions to flow. Really stretch it. I'm really stretching your heart muscle today. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label stranger. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? Think of people that you see in a supermarket that you don't know, but you've seen them on the news, groups of people that you've heard about that aren't necessarily adversaries, but on some level you have a kind of neutral, indifferent relationship with them. And how open is your heart to them? How much of that indifference is keeping you from understanding their suffering or doing something about it? And what can you do to soften that level of the indifference? And to consider another one of the polarities I bring in, which may be more abstract, this idea of there has to be winners and losers. I need to win and you need to lose. What if there are no losers, is the conclusion. And as you hold this to see if what level of open-heartedness you have, see if this opens up their hearts more. Imagine your heart now having impact with theirs, that they let go of their inner polarities of needing to be right or needing to win or needing to demonize or see other. We're all free of it. Just feel what that would be like, from my humanity to all of your humanity, from your humanity to my humanity. And in that glimpse of a moment, war is not possible. Hunger is not possible. Harm is not possible. And with that awareness and image from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now taking all human beings into your heart as you bring your awareness now back to those in this meditation circle. And just take a moment to feel your allies, to feel this group holding this from my humanity to your humanity. An inner bow to each and every one of us. Allowing those in this meditation circle to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Placing yourself in your daily context. This is where the work really is important, where this process of manifesting or envisioning, you're going to now anchor that into your day-to-day experience in the here and now. So feel that in your space now. And with a gratitude for your surroundings, let your surroundings flow into your heart and bring your awareness back to yourself. And just giving yourself a moment to feel what would it be like if all parts of yourself were all one, in complete alignment and harmony. And noticing the benefits of this practice, the energy you've generated, allowing that to flow into every cell of your body, the billions and billions of cells of your body, alivening them, lighting them up, enriching them, flowing into your organs to nurture your organs, heal your organs, flowing into your nervous system as a way to, in a sense, remember this, muscle memory, neural pathways. And as a way to conclude this practice, take another deep, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feeling this transition of inward. Now opening your eyes, look around your room, stretch your body, shake your body a bit. Look at the little squares, at the people that you've been sharing this practice with as you reconnect. So we had a chance to set our motivation, to do our practice. Now we have some time to reflect, a few minutes. So if you'd like to share, please feel free to unmute, share your thoughts or your questions or your concerns. You don't need to get my permission, just jump in, and then we'll close with a dedication.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm so glad that I joined you.
Yeah.
Everything you said earlier resonated with me so much, and sometimes I've had the thought that the person who got elected tapping into the division and separation that was already in the culture. If it wasn't in the culture, if he wouldn't have been able to tap into it. So that our job is to eliminate it in the culture by first eliminating it in ourselves.
Thank you, 𝗁𝗍. That's beautiful. And you're sitting in the middle of it all. You know,
Yes, I am.
you
I
are.
sure am. Yeah.
And I know you well, and I know how tremendous your heart is, and your wisdom, and your love for human beings, and
Yes.
how much this has been paining you.
Oh, it has been. But I
So,
have to be strong and participate in sessions like this to stay strong. To
and
stay,
know you're
yeah.
sorry, and know you're not alone, 𝗁𝗍.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you.
And thank you.
It's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too, Joe.
Joe, you brought up the thinking of the person who has a good spot, which is a dog relationship. And I have this very curious relationship with dogs. Anytime I see a dog, they connect with me. And yesterday there was a dog who simply stopped. The owner couldn't budge the dog. And I was the roadblock. So I'm very accustomed to going over and introducing myself and asking the name of the dog while I'm busy making sure the dog is okay with having a hand reach out. And that connection with the dog then spills over, obviously, to the owner. And the owner connects me in a way that's quite special because the dogs connected us. And I feel like whatever that narrative is about awareness, presence, balance, and flow, it is a kind of dynamic that is picking up on an energy that the dog had the capacity, and the owner was willing to stop and honor the dog. In fact, the dog wasn't going anywhere. So I find myself often then making eye contact with the owner.
Right.
And that moment of eye contact, which is what I think is connecting deeply, this man really connected with me. And that sense of connection is what I think we're all looking for, and what we find with you, Joe, and which this group brings us. And how I can do that without the dog. Jean and Bob have one, and they know how I relate to their dog. So somehow I have to be able to take that approach and notch it up.
Well, thank you, Barbara. First of all, thank you. You always come with your creative, you do like field study. You're like my research. You always come with field study. It's amazing. how committed you are to this practice of shifting people's, of all of it. And you do it in such a
Joe, you
through a
froze.
dog. That it does, you said maybe I need to eliminate the dog. No, maybe it is through the dog. That's something we maybe all need to explore. But I always try to help people remember, don't, I am very sensitive to the shoulds and things like that. And it is true, I say that in my workshops when I do more intensive workshops, even not the most intensive, but just even in the corporate trainings, I'll say to people, when you go home, just know you've been shifted energetically, and your pets may not recognize you. And I had one woman say to me, "That's not true." And she came back the next day and she said, "I walked in the door and the dog didn't know what to do."
Wow.
It took a few minutes before the dog understood who I was.
Oh, that's
And when I did the work with the combat veterans who were suffering from severe PTSD, and we did equine therapy, many of you know this. The work with horses and with animals is very profound. It's a very clear and deep way to bring people back to presence and authenticity.
And what we've been reading, if you've read the paper, is that some dogs can actually learn language. They've got one dog named Basket who has 128 words. So the notion of communicating and sharing an understanding might be very unexpected.
Yeah, thank you. Louise Evans, who's here, she actually has a whole process that she does with groups based on animals, chairs and animals. I don't know if you want to say anything about it, Louise, or if you want to say anything. I'm not sure. You don't have to. I didn't want to call you out. Oh.
No, thank you, Joe. I just, it's my first time here. I haven't known Joe for too long. I'm getting to know him, but I feel blessed at what's just happened in this last hour, because it's actually quite difficult to be part of such beautiful, deep thinking and sharing as yours, Joe. I think it was very special for me to hear your words and hear so many deep things within me being expressed by you, but also the desires of what can we do to help heal this world. And obviously it's all about initially very deep healing within ourselves. But I think what you have given me in this hour together is that hope, but also the remembrance that it's about your presence, it's about our presence, and I love the fact that we can do it in such a simple way with every person that we meet, is consciously make that connection and watch the judgmental mind, watch the assumptions and invite them away and allow that connection to happen, on a daily basis. Wherever you are, it takes practice, takes awareness, it takes being in the moment, it takes desire, but beautiful, beautiful practice. So I'm just very, very blessed to be here with all of you and to be able to share these moments, because they are precious. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Louise. You're interested in Louise. She has a process called 5 chairs of helping people understand the self-talk that they do, if I understand it correctly, and each chair is a different animal.
Yes.
So giraffe is one of them. I know there's giraffe. I remember giraffe.
Yeah, that's it. It's based quite a lot on nonviolent communication, actually. The giraffe and the jackal are in there, but there's also then the hedgehog, the meerkat, and the dolphin, which I've added. But it is literally about, where am I? What behavior am I bringing into the world? What impact am I having? So the animals are designed to help us stay back on track as much as possible. So thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you, Louise. Good that you're here. Anyone else? We've got a couple of more minutes. Okay. Well, as I always say, if you do have things you want to share, not on here, I'm always available. You know where to find me. I'm going to put the links, the various links, so that you can take a look at that before we do our dedication. First of all, I don't charge anything, but if you do want to make a donation to the 𝗵𝗶 Civility Project, the nonprofit, the link is there. Feel free to do that. Or one way to support is to purchase books. You could my two books, Respectful Confrontation and 𝗵𝗶 Civility. 𝗳𝗿𝗇𝗵𝗁𝗁 𝗵𝗶𝗁𝗁 is the Italian. And we finally came up with what I think is a good Dutch translation of 𝗵𝗶 Civility. Please send me emails if you have questions. 𝗴𝗶𝗶𝗰. Think about it. I see the faces. 𝗴𝗶𝗶𝗰. Think about it. Anyway, also, George is modeling the Occupy Here t-shirts that if you want to, and we have t-shirts and mugs, it says Occupy Here. You can purchase that. And please feel free to get on our mailing list so you get updates about what we're doing. I am doing some workshops in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, in February and March. So you look at that in this Facebook and LinkedIn. And if you haven't seen my TEDx talk, A Cure for Chronic Niceness, please take a look at that. It's a good one to get an idea what this is about. So that's what's going on, and I'll keep you updated on various things. And I'm so always grateful that you're here. We're here every second Tuesday of the month, so please put it in your calendars through the year, so you got it there. Think of one or two people every month that you could bring along, and think about ways that we can bring this work into other communities and other organizations and with individuals. But let's just take a moment to dedicate this energy. I always say that I love to say that the 17 of us or so, 19 of us or 19 of us coming together, that with 8 billion people on the planet, it's a statistical miracle that we come together. So it's a miracle that we come together and hold space with each other. Let's honor this moment and what that means, that this unique samenstelling group of people come together to create this, and that for the dedication of the planet, and that take a moment and just dedicate who could use some of this energy that we generated. People that are suffering or having challenges with health issues, family members, friends. If you're going through some issues, to send this energy there, just bless it, just the hope and possibility. To all institutions that are holding space for transformation and growth, for a more peaceful, equitable world. And may people who are feeling isolated find a way to connect and understand this all oneness in a deeper way. And may all governments on this planet function from a place of love, compassion, and generosity, as opposed to greed, fear, and extreme self-interest. Okay. Thank you all. Stay in touch, and see you next month.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Joe.
Bye-bye.